The Galactic Sports Training Academy stood tall on the edge of New Earth's central city. Its shining walls reflected the sky's silver hue, and its training grounds stretched wider than 5 stadiums combined. The academy was where the best young athletes of Earth trained to compete in the interplanetary games. These were not ordinary athletes. They were fast, strong, and upgraded with the latest human enhancements. Muscle boosters, neural implants, speed mods. Every player had some kind of high-tech help. Everyone admired them. Everyone wanted to be them. Except for one boy. The Waterboy. His name was Turin. Turin walked quietly between the practice fields, carrying bottles of ionized water in both hands. His brown hair always fell over his eyes, and he kept his head low. He wore an old academy shirt that hung loose on his thin frame and pants that looked too big for his legs. He never talked. He never looked anyone in the eye. To most, he was invisible. To some, he was a joke. "Hey, Rusty!" shouted Zan, the academy star striker. He was tall, fast, and full of ego. "Don't drop the water again like last time." A few players nearby laughed. "Careful," said Julo, another player. "He might short-circuit." "Oh wait, he doesn't even have circuits." They laughed harder. Tarin just kept walking. Every day was the same. Tarin brought water, picked up gear, and cleaned the locker room after practice. The players pushed past him. Some dropped their bottles on purpose so he'd pick them up. Some left trash on the field just to see if he'd clean it. And Tarin always did. But what no one saw was what Tarin did when the field lights went off. Late at night, when the players were in their sleeping pods and the training bots powered down, Tarin returned to the empty field. The silence was his only friend. The cool air touched his face. As he stepped onto the track, he looked around. No cameras. No voices. Then he moved. Not like a shy water boy. Not like a scared child. But like something else, something sharp and smooth, something trained. He ran full speed across the track, his feet barely touching the ground. He jumped, twisted, slid, and spun like he had rehearsed every step 100 times. His movements were faster than most could follow. His body leaned with perfect balance. His eyes locked on invisible targets as if he was dodging players who weren't even there. And deep in the academy control room, a red light blinked. Dr. Vale, sitting in a quiet corner of the observatory deck, watched the hidden footage on his private screen. He was an older man with silver hair and a mind sharper than any machine. He had once led the Human Core Council, before technology replaced pure training. He believed in something the world had almost forgotten: the strength of the unmodified human. He leaned forward, eyes locked on the boy on the screen. "So," he whispered, "you've finally started." He knew Tarin's file, or at least the parts that were allowed to exist. No implants, no upgrades, no boosters. Not even a basic reflex mod. Yet his performance was beyond anything even the top players had shown. Back on the field, Tarin stood still in the center circle, breathing slowly. The moonlight lit his face as he looked up. No applause. No cheers. Just silence. And Tarin liked it that way. The next morning, everything returned to normal. The players rushed onto the field in their bright uniforms, boasting and laughing as usual. Coach Rollo, a tough ex-soldier with a voice like thunder, barked orders at them. Tarin stood on the side, holding bottles again. Zan tossed his towel at him without looking. "Don't forget to wash that." Julo knocked a ball toward Tarin's leg on purpose. Oops. The ball hit Tarin's shin, but he didn't even flinch. He just picked it up and placed it gently back on the rack. "Still no words?" Zan asked. "Come on, say something. Or did someone remove your voice too?" More laughter followed. Coach Rollo noticed the noise and turned toward them. "Hey, less talking, more running." The players moved to the starting line. Dr. Vale watched from the balcony, his sharp eyes fixed not on the athletes, But on the boy standing near the water crate, he wasn't laughing. He was waiting. Later that afternoon, during lunch break, Tareen sat alone behind the storage unit. He took small bites from a protein bar and watched the training screen from a distance. It played highlights of last year's interplanetary games. Earth's team had lost badly to the Martian Titans. The announcers blamed weak defense, slow reflexes, and lack of teamwork. Tareen had watched that match 10 times. He remembered every pass, every miss, every mistake. He closed his eyes and replayed the game in his mind, correcting every move. If only they had passed left dot, if only they had held formation, if only someone had seen the opening in the last 10 seconds. He saw it. No computer had seen it, but he did, and he remembered. That night, Dr. Vale spoke to Coach Rollo. "There's something special about that boy," he said. "The Waterboy?" Rollo frowned. "He's just a maintenance kid. Not even cleared for practice." Dr. Vale smiled. "Maybe it's time we give him a chance." Coach Rollo shook his head. "He's got no enhancements. No registration. He's not even on the athlete list." "Exactly," Vale said. "And that's why he might be the most important player we've got." Late at night, after all lights in the academy were turned off, Tareen stood again on the empty field. He had waited for this moment the whole day. The sky above was filled with stars, and the only sound came from the soft hum of the wind. Tareen took a deep breath, stepped forward, and began to move. He ran across the grass, faster than any enhanced runner. His steps were quiet, his turns perfect. He changed direction with smooth speed, as if the air itself helped him move. He imagined defenders rushing toward him, but he spun, ducked, and jumped through them all. In his mind, he had already faced every challenge. His body simply followed. Every motion had purpose. Every breath was controlled. But Tareen didn't know he was being watched. Inside the top tower of the academy, Dr. Vale sat with his arms crossed, staring at the screen. He had secretly activated an old surveillance drone, hidden from the academy's central system. It followed Tareen from above, silent and small, recording every movement. Dr. Vale smiled softly. "No implants, no boosters, no code in his body," he said. "And yet, he moves like a master." He remembered years ago, before tech took over the sports world. Back then, young talents trained through pain, patience, and practice. Real effort, real growth. But over time, enhancements became normal. Everyone wanted quicker results. Now, even first-year trainees had artificial reflex chips inside their heads. Except one. Tareen. Years earlier, when Tareen was just a child, the world faced a strange crisis. A wave of neural chip failures had caused many young athletes to lose control during matches. Some even suffered memory loss. At that time, a secret program had been created. A few children were raised without any enhancements to test how far raw human ability could go on its own. Tareen was one of them. He had trained in hidden places, guided by old human masters, away from public eyes. When he was ready, he was quietly placed into the academy, not as a player, but as a water boy. No one was supposed to know. No one was supposed to notice. But Dr. Vale had been watching since day one, and now the boy was awakening. The next morning, Tareen arrived early to prepare the field. He placed cones, cleaned the benches, and stacked the water bottles like always. The players came in later, talking loudly, laughing, and showing off their new mods. Zan walked in with a bright silver band around his wrist. "Got the latest reflex booster," he said proudly. "Shaves 0.2 seconds off reaction time." "Nice," said Julo, pointing at it. "You'll need that when the Martians come charging." They all laughed. Then Zan saw Tareen. "Hey, Rusty," he shouted. "Want one of these? Too bad you don't even qualify for a test." The others laughed again. Tareen stayed silent. Zan picked up a bottle and tossed it toward Tareen's head, not hard, but enough to be annoying. Without even looking, Tarin reached up and caught it. The boys froze. That had happened too fast. No delay, no panic. Just a smooth, perfect catch. Zan forced a laugh. He got lucky. Tarin placed the bottle back on the table and walked away. Later, in Coach Rallo's office, Dr. Vale showed him the late-night footage. The coach watched with a serious face. At first, he didn't believe it. The quiet boy he saw every day, moving like that. That's not normal, Coach Rallo said. He's not even registered in the athlete list. Because he wasn't meant to be, Dr. Vale replied. He's part of something older, something purer. You want me to put this boy on the team? The coach asked. He has no training reports, no enhancement ID, no record of performance. No record, Vale said, because he's beyond the record. Rallo rubbed his chin. I don't trust this, but we're short one player. The Martian match is near. Our backups are injured. Vale leaned forward. Just give him one test, quietly. No one needs to know. After a long pause, the coach nodded. All right. One test. No promises. That evening, while the others were in their rest pods, Tarin was called to the private training room. It was smaller than the main field, but filled with high-speed drones, obstacle walls, and motion sensors. Coach Rallo stood by the side, arms folded. You've been seen, he said. Dr. Vale thinks you're something special. Let's find out. Tarin said nothing. The test began. The lights dimmed. The drones activated. They flew fast, shooting small training discs toward him. Targets appeared on walls, then vanished. Traps opened. Floors shifted. But Tarin moved like water. He dodged every drone, caught 3 discs mid-air, and hit every target without missing once. His timing was flawless. His focus never broke. Coach Rallo's mouth stayed open the entire time. When the test ended, the room went quiet. The coach walked over slowly. You trained for this? He asked. Tarin finally spoke, his voice calm and clear. My body trained. My mind remembered. That was all he said. The next day, whispers spread through the academy. Some saw Coach Rallo speaking privately with the Waterboy. Others noticed Dr. Vale near the field again. Zan and the others laughed. What, is Rusty joining the team now? Zan said. Julo joked. Maybe he'll bring us extra towels during the match. But Coach Rallo stood before them and raised his voice. We have a surprise, he said. Due to injury, we need one more player for the upcoming match. Everyone leaned in on choosing Tarin. The field went silent. The players looked at each other in shock. You can't be serious. Zan shouted. He's not even enhanced. Coach Rallo didn't blink. You'll see what he can do. Tarin stood at the edge, quiet as ever, holding a training ball. He didn't smile. He didn't flinch. But inside, he knew. The sky over New Earth glowed with streaks of blue lightning. A loud voice echoed across the Galactic Sports Training Academy. Coming from the sky-high hologram tower, all academies, prepare. The interplanetary scrimmage begins in 7 days. The voice belonged to the United Game Council, the group responsible for organizing the interplanetary games. Every year, Earth sent its best to face other planetary academies like the strong and proud Martian Titans, the fast and precise Venus Blades, and the powerful Jovian Storm. This year, Earth's first match would be against the Martian Titans, the toughest team in the solar system. Last year, they had crushed Earth 7-0. Coach Rallo stood in the locker room, arms crossed, staring at his team. You all heard the announcement, he said. We face Mars in 7 days. If you think this will be easy, think again. They've upgraded again this year. The players looked at each other. Some were nervous. Some tried to act confident. Zan smirked. We've got new gear. We'll be fine. Coach Rallo's eyes narrowed. Gear won't save you if your hearts are soft. Then, he paused, and this year we're adding a new player. Everyone turned their heads. Zan groaned. Not this again. The door opened slowly. Tureen walked in, wearing a plain black training suit. No logos, no armor. No boosters. Just him. Julo whispered, "Is he serious?" Coach Rollo ignored the looks. "Tureen passed the private trial with the highest score I've seen in years. He's on the roster." Zan stood up. "Coach, he's a Waterboy." "He's never even played in a real match." Coach Rollo nodded. "That's true, but that ends now." Then he looked at Tureen. "You will train with the team. You will play. This is your chance." Tureen gave a small nod and walked quietly to the edge of the locker room. No one welcomed him. No one smiled. But he didn't care. The next day, training began early. The players sprinted through the obstacle field while drones launched target balls. Speed mattered. Accuracy mattered more. Zan jumped high and scored points with sharp throws. Julo moved through targets like a snake, proud of his speed. Then it was Tureen's turn. He didn't rush. He moved lightly, with perfect steps. He didn't miss a single shot. The drones couldn't hit him even once. When he finished, his time broke the record. Everyone stared. Zan threw his towel on the bench and muttered, "It's fake. Must be some hidden mod." Coach Rollo looked directly at him. "I checked. He has no enhancements. You all do. What does that say about your performance?" Silence. At lunch, Tureen sat alone again. A few players walked past, looking at him with confused eyes. Some were still angry, some were unsure. He didn't mind. He watched old match footage again on his wrist screen, last year's Earth versus Mars match. He paused the video at the 38-minute mark. The Earth player had missed an opening in the Martian wall. If he had passed left instead of forward, a goal could have been scored. Tureen saw it clearly. He watched it again. This time he imagined himself in the field, making the right pass. He replayed the scene over and over. That evening, Dr. Vale visited Coach Rollo in the strategy room. "He's doing well," Vale said. The coach nodded. "Better than expected. He learns fast." Vale smiled. "That's not all. He sees things others don't. I believe he has a form of natural combat vision, one that no upgrade can match." Coach Rollo looked at the team map. "I just hope the others learn to work with him before game day. Right now, they treat him like he doesn't belong." "He'll show them," Vale said. "Not with words, but with results." The next day, during practice scrimmage, Coach Rollo mixed the teams. Tureen ended up on the same side as Zan and Julo. "Stay out of the way," Zan told him. "Just pass the ball and don't try anything." Tureen said nothing. The match began. Zan tried to control the game himself. He rushed forward but lost the ball. Tureen quickly moved in, took it back from the opponent, and passed it sharply right to Julo, who wasn't even expecting it. Julo caught it and scored. The others blinked in surprise. Next play, Tureen did it again, reading their moves before they even made them. Zan began to notice. He passed to Tureen once, then again. Each time, the ball came back better than expected. By the end of the match, Tureen had assisted in every goal. No one said anything. But no one laughed at him either. That night, the team sat in the strategy room, watching the Martian game footage. Coach Rollo paused the screen. "They will press hard," he said. "Their captain, Rager, is fast and ruthless. He will test your reflexes, your teamwork, and your pride." He turned toward the team. "Your upgrades won't matter if you don't. Trust each other." Then he pointed to Tureen, "And you need to trust him too." The players looked at Tureen, then at the screen again. No one argued. Even Zan stayed quiet. 2 days before the match, the final team list was announced. Tureen was on the starting lineup. The academy message board lit up with comments. "The Waterboy? Is this a joke? Coach must have lost his mind. This better be a stunt. We can't lose again." But Dr. Vale wasn't worried. He stood by the window of the training tower and watched Tureen practice alone on the field, moving through shadows like a whisper. faster and smoother than even the drones. "This is no stunt," he whispered. "This is the return of human instinct." In his room, Tareen sat on his bed and opened an old photo. It showed him as a child, holding hands with an old man, his first trainer. A man who once said, "They will laugh at you. They will doubt you, but they will never stop you if you keep moving forward." Tareen placed the photo down. Tomorrow would be the last day of training. After that, everything would change. Game day had arrived. The galactic arena of New Earth was packed with thousands of spectators from across the solar system. Giant floating screens hovered in the sky, showing live images from the stadium. Flags of different planets waved, and robotic cameras flew above the crowd, broadcasting every second to the galaxy. This was the first match of the interplanetary scrimmage, Earth Academy vs. Martian Titans. Inside the locker room, the Earth team sat in silence. For the first time, even Zan wasn't making jokes. Everyone was focused. Everyone was nervous. Coach Rallo stood in front of them, his voice steady. "You've trained. You've worked. Now it's time to show what you've learned. Trust your team. Trust the game. And most of all, play like it's the last match of your life." His eyes moved to Tareen. "You ready?" Tareen nodded once. His face was calm. No fear, no smile. "Just focus." Zan looked at him for a moment, then gave a small nod too. Maybe Tareen wasn't just a water boy anymore. The team walked out onto the field. The stadium lights flashed. The Martian Titans were already lined up. They were taller, bulkier, and wore glowing red suits. Their leader, Rhaegar, stood in the front with glowing cybernetic eyes. He grinned as the Earth team approached. "Bringing a child to a war?" Rhaegar said, pointing at Tareen. Zan stepped forward. "He's worth two of you." Rhaegar laughed, then turned away. The match began. The game moved fast from the start. The Martians played rough. Their players slammed into Earth's defenders with full power. Julo barely dodged a shoulder hit. Zan struggled to break through the middle. The ball moved like lightning across the field. Within 5 minutes, the Martians scored the first goal. The crowd roared. Earth fans fell silent. Coach Rallo stayed calm on the side, arms crossed. "Let them get used to the pace," he said softly. Then Tareen stepped in. The Martians tried to pressure him immediately. One of their fastest players ran straight at him, aiming to knock him down. But Tareen didn't even flinch. At the last second, he spun sideways and let the Martian pass by, then took the ball with one smooth step. He moved through the field like a whisper. Fast, silent, untouchable. Zan watched from a few steps away, confused by what he saw. Tareen wasn't just quick, he moved before the opponents did. It was like he knew their actions in advance. Tareen passed the ball perfectly between two Martians, sending it straight to Julo, who scored. The crowd gasped. 1-1. The Martians looked confused. Their captain, Rhaegar, shouted orders. "Double team." "The small one." Two defenders rushed Tareen, but it didn't matter. He shifted, ducked, and rolled past them like water flowing around stone. His feet were too fast, his eyes too sharp. He passed again. Zan caught the ball and, without thinking, made a fast shot. Goal. 2-1 for Earth. The stadium erupted. The match changed. Now, Earth's team moved with energy. They had seen Tareen play and something had changed in them. They began passing faster, trusting each other more. Even Zan started working with Tareen, giving him looks, nods, and quick hand signals. They didn't speak, but they understood. Coach Rallo smiled for the first time. Rhaegar growled. His pride was wounded. He charged toward Tareen himself, pushing past his own players. The two met at the center. For a moment, everything slowed. The Martian captain was huge, twice Tareen's size, with cyber arms and a steel spine, but Tareen didn't. "Step back." Rhaegar threw his weight forward. Tareen slid under his arm and tapped the ball away. The Martian fell forward, stunned. The crowd went wild. On the screen, commentators shouted, "Unbelievable! The youngest player just outplayed the Martian. Captain, no tech, no mods. Just pure skill." The match was now 3-2 for Earth. Only 5 minutes remained. Turin controlled the field now. His passes were perfect. His timing, flawless. The Martians became desperate. They started making mistakes, losing focus, playing too hard. Turin didn't slow down. Even when one Martian defender tried to trip him, Turin jumped, flipped, and kept going. The crowd gasped again. Slow-motion replays showed the move from every angle. Coach Rollo turned to Dr. Vale, who stood near the control booth. "He's better than we thought," the coach said. Dr. Vale nodded. "No machine can match instinct." With 2 minutes left, the Martians launched a full attack. They pushed forward with 5 players. Earth's defense was thin. The score could be tied at any second. Turin called out his first words of the match loud and clear. "Hold the middle." The Earth players listened without hesitation. Turin dropped back to defend, reading the Martian attack as if he'd seen it before. He stole the ball just as Rager tried to pass. With only seconds left, Turin made one final run. He passed 2 players, dodged a third, and sent the ball straight to Zan at the corner. Zan jumped high and smashed it into the goal. 4-2. Game over. The whistle blew. The Earth team had won. The crowd exploded in cheers. Lights flashed, flags waved, but Turin didn't celebrate. He simply walked to the bench, sat down, and drank a sip of water. Zan ran over to him and held out his hand. "You're not the Waterboy anymore," he said. Turin looked at him. "I never was," Zan smiled. "Whatever you are, you're the reason we won." The rest of the team joined him. Even Julo gave him a pat on the shoulder. For the first time, Turin wasn't alone. He was part of the team. Up in the control tower, the Galactic Council members discussed what they had seen. "One boy," said a council member. "No implants, no boosters." Dr. Vale stood behind them, arms folded. "That," he said, "is what a true human looks like." They all nodded. This match was just the beginning. The Earth team's victory over the Martian Titan spread like fire across the solar system. News screens, galactic forums, and even off-world communication hubs were full of one name: Turin. Unenhanced human defeats cyber players. Who is the boy with no boosters? Earth's mystery player shocks the galaxy. Clips of his moves were played everywhere. His spin past the Martian captain, his perfect passes, his final play. It all looked unreal, but it was real. And now, everyone wanted to know more. At the Earth Academy, everything had changed. The same. Players who once laughed at Turin now followed him with quiet respect. He still wore his old training clothes. He still walked alone, but now the others made space for him. They didn't joke. They didn't insult. Even Zan, once the loudest bully, spoke to him calmly. One morning, during warm-ups, Zan walked over. "You saved us," he said. "You saved me." Turin didn't answer right away. He just passed the ball to him. Zan smiled. "Want to train together?" Turin nodded once. It was the beginning of something new. Coach Rollo watched the change with interest. He saw how the team moved differently now, faster, tighter, more focused. Even without speaking much, Turin had become the center of the team. In the control tower, Dr. Vale smiled. "This," he whispered, "is what leadership looks like." But the victory brought more than praise. It brought attention. The next match was announced. Earth versus Jupiter's elite team, the Jovian Storm. They were bigger, stronger, and far more dangerous than the Martians. Their players used full-body mods, metal bones, jet legs, gravity-resistant cores that no one had ever beaten them in 5 years. Coach Rollo knew this match would be different. "The Jovians don't play games," he told the team. "They play destruction." Zan frowned. "Can Turin handle them?" The coach looked at him. He already handled Mars, but we need more than one star. We need all of you to rise. Training became intense. Each morning began before sunrise. Each night ended long after dark. Turin ran drills with the full team now, teaching without words, guiding through example. He never shouted. He never showed off. But his quiet strength pushed everyone forward. Even Julo, who once laughed at Turin's silence, began copying his footwork. "He doesn't waste energy," Julo said. "Every move matters." Soon, the whole team adopted Turin's rhythm calm. Quick, precise. Dr. Vale prepared a private strategy file for Coach Rollo. "Turin has something special," he explained. "It's not just speed or skill. It's instinct, old human instinct. Something born, not built." The coach nodded. "It's waking something in the others." "Exactly," Vale replied. "Your team is no longer a group of individuals. They're starting to act like one organism." "Then we'll fight like one," said Rollo. The day of the match arrived. The Jovian storm entered the arena first. Their bodies looked half human, half machine. Their legs hissed with pressure coils. Their arms glowed with armor plates. Turin stood across from them, calm, quiet, still. The crowd didn't cheer this time. They waited, curious, anxious. Would the boy without tech survive the storm? The match began. At once, the Jovians charged forward. Their speed was insane. Their tackles felt like earthquakes. One Earth defender was knocked over in seconds. The ball flew past the middle line. Goal, 0-1. Another attack. Earth blocked once, but not the second time. Goal, 0-2. Coach Rollo clenched his jaw. "Hold the line," he shouted. "Stay together." But the players were shaken. Only Turin stayed calm. He walked to the center line. The ball sat waiting. His eyes scanned the Jovians, reading their stance, their balance, their weak points. He passed to Zan. Then ran. Zan, still recovering from the last hit, trusted the pass and moved forward. Turin dashed between two defenders, pulling them off track. Julo slipped through and received the next pass. Goal, 1-2. The crowd jumped up. Coach Rollo smiled. "They're waking up," he whispered. The next few minutes were a war. Jovians tried to crush Earth's team with power. But Earth dodged, shifted, worked as one. Turin led them like a shadow. He didn't bark orders. He moved where needed, blocked shots, passed when least expected. His energy never dropped. His awareness never faded. Zan scored again. 2-2. Now the Jovians were angry. Their leader, Brask, slammed his metal fist into the ground. "Enough of this game," he growled. He charged straight at Turin. The crowd held its breath. Brask was a giant with metal joints and super boosters. He weighed 3 times more than Turin. His steps cracked the field. But Turin didn't move. Not at first. At the final second, he sidestepped. Brask flew past and hit the wall. The audience roared. Slow motion. Replay showed Turin's eyes reading every step before it came. Pure timing. Pure instinct. He passed the ball across the field. Zan caught it. Goal, 3-2. Earth led. Brask stood up slowly. He looked at Turin not with hate, but with disbelief. "You're not like the others," he said. "You're something else." Turin answered softly, "I'm human." With just 1 minute left, Earth held their ground. The Jovians tried again and again, but Earth didn't break. When the final whistle blew, the score remained Earth 3, Jovians 2. Earth had done the impossible again. The crowd went wild. Flags flew. Lights danced. Even commentators cheered. Back in the locker room, the team sat in silence, breathing hard, still shocked. Then Zan stood up and looked at Turin. "I used to think enhancements made us better," he said, "but you showed me something stronger." Julo nodded. "You didn't just beat them, you helped us believe." Turin looked around. "You all had it inside," he said. "You just forgot." Coach Rollo entered and clapped once. "Next match," he said, will be the biggest yet. Everyone turned. Venus blades? Zan asked. The coach shook his head. No, this time it's the Galactic All-Stars. After the shocking win against the Jovian Storm, Earth's team became the talk of the galaxy. Every sports channel ran special reports about the silent boy, who led a team of enhanced players without using a single upgrade. News headlines glowed across all systems. Taurine the Untouched, Earth's new hope. No chips, no mods, no limits. Jovians defeated by pure human skill. But behind the excitement came the final challenge, the Galactic All-Stars, a team made from the best players of every planet. Tallest from Mars, fastest from Venus, strongest from Jupiter, smartest from Neptune. All enhanced, all perfect, all deadly. Coach Rollo called the Earth team into the strategy room. This is it, he said. The final match. Everyone sat quietly. Zan whispered, "Do we even stand a chance?" Rollo nodded. "Only if you do one thing." They all waited. Trust each other. Trust yourselves. Then he looked at Taurine, and trust him. All eyes turned to the boy who once carried their water bottles. Now, he carried their hopes. The next few days were full of training. But this time, things were different. Zan trained beside Taurine like a true teammate. Julo copied his timing drills. Even the defenders watched old footage of Taurine to learn his positioning. No one bullied him now. No one laughed. He had earned their respect, not with power, but with quiet strength. One evening, as the sun set behind the academy towers, the team sat together on the grass. Zan broke the silence. "I was wrong about you, Taurine." Taurine looked up. "You were angry," he said. "Not wrong." Zan smiled. "Yeah, but you didn't give up on us." Julo added, "You made us better, without ever shouting at us." Taurine shook his head. "I only reminded you who you already were." The team fell silent again. They knew what he meant. Match day arrived. The galactic arena was now 10 times fuller than before. Ships floated above the stadium, projecting lights and music. Fans from all planets waved glowing signs. The Galactic All-Stars walked onto the field in sharp silver uniforms, eyes glowing with high-level enhancements. They moved like machines. No wasted motion, no nervousness. Just perfect balance and quiet pride. And then Earth's team stepped out. They wore simple black and blue, no glowing parts, no robotic parts, but they walked as one, and in the center walked Taurine, still quiet, still calm, still human. The match began with speed never seen before. The All-Stars moved like lightning. Within 2 minutes, they passed through Earth's defense and scored. 0-1. The crowd cheered. Commentators shouted, "Earth is too slow. The boy can't keep up this time." Now they face perfection. Coach Rollo shouted from the sideline, "Stay focused." Taurine didn't panic. He ran to the center and called for the ball. Zan passed it. The next moment changed everything. Taurine did a short tap forward, barely moving the ball. The All-Star defender rushed forward. But Taurine wasn't going for the goal. He used that step to pull the line, then passed backward perfectly to Julo, who was wide open. Goal. 1-1. The stadium gasped. The All-Stars didn't like surprises. Their captain, Kairos, looked at Taurine with sharp eyes. "Interesting," he said. "But tricks don't win matches." He signaled his team. What came next was a storm. Passes that moved faster than the eye. Jumps higher than gravity should allow. Kicks that bent through the air like heat waves. Earth struggled. All-Stars scored again. 1-2. Zan wiped sweat from his forehead. "They're not even breathing hard." Julo said, "We can't beat them like this." Taurine stepped forward. "Then let's not play like them." The team turned toward him. Taurine explained quickly, "They're expecting speed. But they're machines. They don't like chaos." Zan smiled. "Then let's give them some." What followed was unlike any match the galaxy had seen. Earth slowed their rhythm. They began to move in strange patterns, zigzags, sudden stops, odd passes. It looked wrong to outsiders, but it confused the All-Stars. They missed one pass. Then, another dot. Earth caught a loose ball. Julo passed left. Tureen curved around. And Zan scored. 2-2. The crowd exploded. Now the All-Stars looked frustrated. They were still stronger. Still faster, but not smarter. And certainly not braver. Kyros growled. He approached Tureen at center field. "You don't belong here." Tureen replied, "That's what they all said." Kyros stepped closer. "You think being normal makes you better?" Tureen looked him in the eyes. "No, it makes me human." Kyros turned away without a word. The final 10 minutes began. It was the most intense gameplay in tournament history. The All-Stars fought harder than ever. Their players moved with perfect calculation. But Earth played with passion, instinct, and unity. Tureen wasn't everywhere, but he was always where he needed to be. Zan and Julo worked like his arms. The defenders listened to his movements, not his voice. The team was no longer a team. It was one living machine. Not powered by tech, powered by trust. With 30 seconds left, the score was still tied. Kyros made a final push. He passed through the center, jumped high, and launched a spinning shot toward Earth's goal. Tureen wasn't nearby. Everyone thought it was over. But out of nowhere, Zan appeared. He leaped up and blocked it with his chest. The ball bounced back to Tureen, who had already started running. He didn't stop. Every All-Star chased him, but Tureen moved like wind. He reached the goal line with seconds left and did something strange. He didn't shoot. He passed. To Julo, who passed again. To Zan, who tapped the ball in. Goal. 3-2. Whistle. Game over. Earth had won. Without boosters. Without implants. Without pride. Only teamwork. Only heart. Only one quiet boy who reminded them what it meant to be human. The crowd stood in silence. Then came the loudest cheer the galaxy had ever heard. "Human, Human." Tureen didn't raise his arms. He just looked at his team and smiled. The victory over the Galactic All-Stars made history. Every corner of the solar system buzzed with excitement. News channels replayed the match endlessly. Millions of fans sent messages, sharing their awe and respect for the quiet boy. Tureen. No one had ever seen a human without enhancements beat the best of the best. But for Tureen, the win was only the beginning. The Earth Academy held a celebration. Players, coaches, and fans gathered around. Flags waved. Music played. The team stood on a raised platform. Zan stepped forward first. To the boy who never spoke much, but whose actions spoke louder than words, he said, "Thank you for showing us what real strength means." Julo nodded. "You made us better. Stronger, united." Tureen looked at the crowd but said nothing. Instead, he raised his water bottle, the same one he used when he was the shy Waterboy. The crowd laughed and cheered. Days after the celebration, Dr. Vale visited Tureen in the training hall. "You changed everything," he said quietly. "Not just for Earth, but for all who watched." Tureen smiled faintly. "I just showed what we are." Dr. Vale looked thoughtful. "There is talk now. Some want to reduce reliance on enhancements. They see what raw human skill can do." Tureen's eyes lit up. That's the future. But not everyone was happy. Some teams felt threatened. The Martians planned to upgrade even more. The Jovians wanted to build stronger exosuits. The Galactic Council discussed new rules to limit natural players. Kyros, the All-Star captain, reached out. "I underestimated you," he said over a private message. "You remind me that being human is more than just strength. It's heart." Tureen replied simply, "We all have heart." Months passed. The interplanetary games continued, but now with a new spirit. Teams began to respect human skill. Players trained harder, Not just for faster reactions, but for better teamwork, better minds, and stronger will. Earth's team became a symbol of proof that technology was not everything. Tarin stayed humble. He returned to his simple routines, helping others improve, teaching young players to believe in themselves. One quiet evening, Tarin stood on the field, watching the sunset. Coach Rollo joined him. "You changed the game," the coach said. Tarin smiled. "We changed the game, together," Rollo nodded. The galaxy watched. They learned. "Maybe now," Tarin said softly, "humans will be remembered for more than their upgrades." The shy water boy who was once bullied had become a legend. Not because of machines, not because of power, because of heart, because of courage, because he never stopped moving forward.